ready to begin our final sketch, or I should say our final playing card project. The final sketch has been labeled and drawn on a piece of paper that you have now downloaded onto your computer, and it should be ready to move into Illustrator. We have a template layer, and we also have a sketch layer to start for the file that you're about to open. So go ahead and make sure that you open up the playing card template. And now we're going to go in and place our downloaded file. Now when you place this, you're not going to be able to see under it, which is a problem. So I'm going to go to my properties and change my opacity to 40%. And I'm going to do Command minus to zoom out so that I can see all edges. And I'm going to do my very best to try to align my sketch with the template. I want to make sure that my letters or my numbers and my suits are going to fit properly in this template. So I've got it just right. I can make some adjustments and tweaks to it, so if it's not exactly perfect right now, it's okay. The number one most important thing at this point is to definitely lock your sketch layer. Now you have a picture of your sketch here, and you also should have it in front of you. At this point, you're going to be going down to the plus symbol in the layers panel, and we're going to be actually creating the layers from layer 1 all the way up. How many layers you have depends on your drawing. So I have 9 layers, which seems like a lot, but you might only have 6. This is really important to do before you start, because Illustrator does not make the layers for you, and you can end up putting stuff in the wrong layer. And I should say too that even though you have this mapped out, there could be a possibility of change, because you might realize, oh, you know what, I really should not have put that in that layer, or that layer is not necessary. Okay, so I've made all of my layers. There's quite a bit. Okay, now I'm going to lock everything except my first layer that I want to draw on, and that happens to be the spade. So when you're making your layers, you should know this. You start from the back and go all the way to the front. So my spade is definitely in the back. And this is a sketch, but these little tiny suits over here have already been made for you. So I'm going to use this, actually. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it. But before I paste it, please make sure that you go back and lock that template and you put your spade on the right layer. Now, if you designed your spade differently for your card, then or your clover, or whatever it is, you might not want to use this, and that's fine. But I'm going to use it because it actually works out great. All right, now, I can't see anything. I'm going to go ahead and lock it, first of all, and I'm going to definitely turn off the layer. It's not gone, it's just turned off temporarily. And as I build the layers, my layers will be sitting on top of this, so I will be able to see it. Okay, now we're going to focus on the back ear. The back ear is here for me, and I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I'm going to draw with no fill, just a stroke. Use my curvature tool. Now, I don't mind that the line is on top of the face. And the reason I don't mind is because it's going to get covered up. You're not going to see it. Try not to bend your lines too much. I have actually gone a little too crazy. There we go. And remember too, you can go back and adjust these later. Now if this is not distracting and you'd like to keep it there, you can. You don't have to turn it off, but I am definitely going to lock it. And because my nose goes in between my ears and the tail, I'm going to go ahead and leave this ear above my nose and tail. So I'm going to focus on my nose and all the way down here first, and then come back and do my ear. So I'm going to grab my pen tool, unlock your layer. We've practiced this together, so you know the least amount of clicks the better. And I have actually made the fur, the tip of the tail, a separate layer, so I'm going to go ahead and just draw this out. And all right, so notice I didn't do this line, and I also didn't do the nose. Those are extra things that are going to get added later after I'm done with this. I need to make this a full shape. If I don't close this in, then it will not color. So I'm going to go ahead . This one I don't mind so much because it's just going to get covered up, but I am going to be very aware of this edge. And you can see why you want your fill off so that you can see all of this. Your fill actually will cover this up if you end up turning it on, so don't turn your fill on quite yet. Okay. All right, let's turn that off for a second just to see. Okay, it's not looking too bad. I can go back and adjust it later if I want to. If there's some situations here, maybe I'll cover that up with the fur. And then I'm going to go in with my nose. So I need to definitely see this up close. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to cover the fox's nose. With his nostrils. And this part is actually going to show, so I need to be very careful with how I design this. Okay, and then last I'm going to go in with just a line. So that I don't lose that little bit of detail. Okay. All right, we're good to go on that one. Now we can move on to the front ear. And remember, you want closed in shapes normally, but in this case, I have a situation where it's going to be opened to the fur that's into the nose and the tail layer. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to click my escape button twice or once, and then I'm going to come back over here. Whoops. Gonna have to accomplish that with more than one anchor point. Escape. And then notice I'm starting down here, not here, because I don't want the anchor points to actually connect to each other. I want to keep them separate. So I'm gonna click here. And click here. I was using my curvature tool instead of my regular pen tool, so let's try that again. There we go. And then curve. Okay. And let me try filling this in to see what it would look like. Okay, that's gonna work because it's gonna go into the face. This and this are gonna have an issue. So, because if I go ahead and fill that in, it's gonna go the wrong way. So I'm gonna have to readjust my idea here. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a shape that goes all the way around, and then I'm gonna add this line. So I will come in here and create one big shape. Let's see how that works if I fill this in. Okay, and then I'm going to add a second line, or my last line here. This is just my little detail. And I'm going to have to add some lines to the fur anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and just add those little details. And I don't need to connect these because it's not a shape. All right. Now I'm going to continue this without being recorded, and when I come into part 2, the part 2 video, you will see this finished, and I will go ahead and show you how to finish off your project.